Here we go. We're ready. We're rolling. 1, 2, and a half. Take 5.
1 second.
Okay, Lamar.
Girls, can you go to this side, to your right, just a little bit out of frame? Great. And set.
Okay. Action!
Mom? It's me, sir. Can you please? Okay. Excuse me, can you? Why are you tell me what? Okay. Tell me what? Okay. Mom, please tell me why you're taking my daughter. Tell me why.
Stand back.
No, you can't. Well, you need to tell me why you're taking my daughter. You can't just. It's okay. I will. It's okay.
Cut!
Oh, I caught that?
Great. That was a good one. That was more hysterical, but I liked it. I remember I was on the airplane looking at Vanity Fair, and there was an article called "The Suspects Wore Louboutins" about this whole teen burglary ring, and I remember hearing about that story in the news. It was familiar, but when I read the article, it was so interesting, and I thought, oh, someone's got to be making a movie of this, or it's such a good movie. And
this film, one of the things that attracted me to it initially, early on, was that it reminded me of films that I grew up with, and films that I love, like Over the Edge, and all of these sort of teen films that took place in Los Angeles, like Valley Girl even, and Foxes, and I love those movies. I still watch those movies now, to this day. And when I saw a little bit of that in there, and when I talked to Sofia about it, and really knew that was the world that we were kind of referencing, it really added a whole new layer to it and made it even more exciting to me.
When Sofia told me about the idea, I was completely uninterested and couldn't believe that she wanted to spend all this time living in this world, because it was so repellent to me, and it was repellent to her too, so I was very confused about it. But it's the same way it is with most of her movies. It was sort of the same with Somewhere, that she told me this story, and I was saying, I'm not interested in this at all, this sort of guy. I couldn't be less interested in this. But then she always sort of somehow shows me something new about it that I wouldn't have expected, and she definitely makes it her film, which then becomes interesting to me.
The script is very minimal, as most of Sofia's scripts are. It was exciting to read it and picture it, and then sit down with her and have her explain what she wanted to do. Because often with Sofia's scripts, there's stuff on the page, but a lot of it's not on the page. A lot of it is stuff that either she's going to find later, or that is in her mind that she then can kind of explain to you. We have, I don't know, probably 20-something locations, a lot of locations. And I love all the locations we got, because I feel like it shows so many different aspects of LA and feels authentic.
Sofia and I really specifically talked about palette, you know, in the beginning, and that there was a photograph that we had from the beginning that was a completely washed out kind of peach street in the valley. This was what we decided we wanted the valley to look like for ourselves, inside and out, just sort of a really washed out, overly lit kind of sun-drenched place, and but bland too. And I think that was a hard thing for Sofia on the movie, because she normally makes things she finds beautiful, and so I think it was a struggle for her to accept that she was shooting something that was just this beige, washed-out box.
I felt like we just drove around in a van and spent days and days in Calabasas, and I couldn't tell exactly where we were. They all start to look the same, and even the houses we shot for, like Rebecca and Nikki's house, we're all in the same neighborhood, and they're very interchangeable. The layouts are all the same, and from the outside they look the same. And so we were kind of in the beige world for the kids' homes, which is really a contrast to the Hollywood nightclub and the celebrities' houses.
We actually took it upon ourselves to start scouting the celebrity homes first, because we felt like once we've got those down, then it will help inform where our kids live.
Jerry, can you tell us what we're doing right now?
We're sneaking into Paris Hilton's house right now. We're at the gates of Mulholland Estates.
Cool.
And there's a new security guard.
Off the record, as I'm being recorded, we did shoot in Paris Hilton's house.
It was pretty exciting being in Paris Hilton's shoe closet and filming there. I felt in my element. Yeah, but that was such an exotic location. And it was exciting to be able to shoot in, her real house where these burglaries took place, and that she let us into her private world, and we were all like sitting around hanging out in her bathroom waiting to do a shot. I couldn't believe it. So I really appreciate that she let us into her private world.
You can't top Harris's house though, but that was just, for what it was on screen, is fantastic. Her house was great.
That's amazing.
The casting was so important, to have really authentic, have kids that are really that age. It always bugs me when you see, like someone who's 25-year-old playing a teenager, because there's such a difference. And so I was happy that most of the cast is close to the age of the real characters.
I feel like casting went on forever and ever and ever, and I came on very early. I came on about a year before we started shooting, but I felt like there had already been a great deal of casting that had already started.
And of course, we talked about a lot of well-known kids, named kids. I mean, not that there are that many named kids who are 17 and 16, but there are a few.
So I was sort of sent links that were pared down considerably. And of course, Emma was at the top of that list.
We loved Emma. We loved her for her performance and her look, but she's also, a valuable name.
Emma Watson's name first came up at Fred Roos and Courtney Nicole, who were going through all the kids for this, just kind of brought up every young actor, and I guess they met with her and really liked her. So then I met with her in New York, and I really liked her as a person. And then she did an audition for me. She really was interested in playing this part. She did an audition, and I could see her, a glimpse of the character. She could have easily just been like a caricature or a spoof. That was another challenge for me, was to not, the character of Nikki and also the mom, played by Leslie Mann, could just so easily be full comedy spoofs, and having them take the part so seriously, I thought brought the reality to it. So it was important that it feel natural and real.
The most interesting part of playing Nikki for me is that she has all of these different faces, and there are all of these different layers to her, and she puts on lots of different faces for lots of different people. So it's hard to figure out what is really the authentic Nikki, what really is the real her. Because there's kind of this drug-fueled, crazy Nikki who is kind of really up for like stealing things and being really like sexy and crazy, and then there's this side of Nikki where she's like this sort of like, she plays like the perfect daughter and like this good girl and this very like spiritual human being who cares about the community and like is very aware of people's karma, and so there's this very strange dichotomy to her.
I thought they were my friends. It all comes back to like bad choices. Who you have as your friends.
Costumes are really important for Nikki, and was a really important part of me getting into the role. All of my usual fashion rules like went out the window. Visible cleavage, very short skirts, things that are very tight, very high heels, big hoop earrings, lots of bling, lots of like necklaces, and her hair is kind of an accessory too. She does a lot of like the kind of like head swishing, and she has like this long mane of extension. She's much more interested in things being like hot and like sexy.
My butt look good in these jeans? Your butt looks awesome.
Well, I knew from the very beginning that the Asian girl was going to be the hardest part to cast, and it is one of the most, maybe the most important role in the picture. And she's the one that instigates the robberies and leads all the kids down that path. So we need kind of a Asian dragon lady at 16, 17.
It's a Birkin.
But this self-taped audition that Katie Chang did in Chicago.
Is your mom away a lot?
Yeah, she goes on trips a lot for work and vacations with her douchey husband. That is so hot. I love that dress.
She had never done anything really acting-wise except school plays. The minute I saw her self-tape, I said, I think she's the one. I think she's, we have a shot there with that girl.
I play Rebecca in the Bling ring. She is sort of the ringleader. if you will, of the group of kids that break into celebrity homes and steal a lot of stuff. She's very obsessed with that celebrity culture, with fashion, with clothes, with things. That's so cute. Almost to the point where she uses things to make herself feel better about herself.
I want to go to Rachel Bilson's. She's in Paris for Fashion Week.
Do you think you should chill out a little bit?
Yeah, that news thing totally freaked me out.
Nothing happened. There's no way of telling who it is anyway. Come on. Can you find her house for me, please? I want some Chanel.
Next came figuring out who was going to be Mark. And that was really extensive because when you read the script, you kind of have this idea of what that guy is. And we got a lot of that guy. And it all felt very sort of actory, and it all felt very, lots of like ticks and tells, and that stuff can get really annoying, and Sofia gets really annoyed with that. And so we ended up finding Israel, and Israel, in my initial reaction, was like, he's really sincere, he doesn't have that look, I think he's really great, but I didn't see it right away, just to be perfectly honest. And then Sofia knew it. She was like, you know, I'll see some more kids, but you know when Sofia makes a decision. It's like, there's a shift, and it's really interesting to see because like, I can show her another 10 other things, but I know she's gonna go back to that thing that she likes, you know?
When I was trying to research Nick Prugo, who's Mark in the story, I couldn't find anything on him. You know, I found a few videos, like off TMZ and stuff, but other than that, I couldn't find anything on him. When I finally sat down and, you know, spread out my research, I took in a few of his trades, but I think a lot of it, Sofia wrote, like, the lines, like, that's actually what he said. Excuse me, was a bit of a drama queen. I didn't want to really play that, you know, I didn't want to make everything a big deal. So I just went with a mellower type of guy who, you know, happens to be homosexual and not really push it too much. When you first see the movie at the beginning, he's really this lonely kid in school. He knows nobody, he's lost. He meets Rebecca and, you know, they befriend each other. And the more time they spend together, you know, the more he's grown attached to her. And, you know, that's what he needs and that's what he needed. And then when, you know, all this stuff went down and he got arrested and everything, you know, he turned to Rebecca and Rebecca betrayed him. And I think out of that, you know, he grew up a little bit.
Chloe Taynor, she's quite a character. She's, I don't know, if I were to use one word to describe her, the first word I would use is badass, for sure. Like, Chloe is definitely the most badass character in all of the Bling Ring, in my opinion. Yo, sluts! Chloe! What's good? It's my homie Mark.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Nikki. This is Sam. She's funny. She's actually pretty smart. She's cunning. She's a very good criminal. We got. Look, oh, 100. Oh my God.
Sam's just looking for fun. One of the things Sofia had us do was make a vision board where you just, you cut out like pictures and inspirational phrases from magazines and you put it on a board, and it's like where you want to be in like 5 years, or things that inspire you or things that you want. And one of the little clippings I found said, do whatever the #, exclamation point you want. And that pretty much sums Sam up. She's just looking for fun, and she's gonna find it.
Christmas present?
Holy shit. Be careful with that. Is that loaded?
I don't know, maybe.
What the fuck?
Is it, Mark? Is it loaded?
Fuck, stop it. Stop it. Just chill out.
Stop it. Don't touch me, bro. It's good.
Yeah. Cut. Okay, good. That looked great.
It's fun to play someone so different from you because you get to experience it all without really experiencing it. You know, you can say you did it, but it doesn't affect your personal life, doesn't affect you, which is great. It's an amazing experience.
I play Lori, and she is the mother in the story to
the girls, the troublemakers. But she doesn't really have a clue what they're up to in my mind. And that's a cute dress. Did you get a new dress?
Mm-hmm. Our friend Mark, he's a stylist. He let us borrow some stuff for the auditions.
That's nice.
His dad has a production company that he helps style for.
What's it called?
I don't remember.
Something international?
Mom, we actually have to get going because we're meeting this manager tonight who could be really helpful.
Yeah, he knows a lot of photographers and producers, so.
The manager? I think she is someone who went out on her own really early in life and doesn't really have very strong mothering skills and is just doing her best in trying to raise 3 girls and failing a lot of the time, and but just like searching and trying as best as she can, but not really doing a great job all the time. But she's trying. We are going to make vision boards about people who are demonstrating good character, like Angelina Jolie.
What I can say about overall with the cast that's been really interesting is that you make these choices for individual roles, but it's really about the balance, especially on an ensemble like this. And we've picked this really beautiful ensemble cast. And that was the thing that impressed me so much with Sofia, being able to just know how they were. It wasn't about what they were going to do individually, it was about what they were going to do as a whole. And that's what's really strong, is that when you see them all together, they all balance each other out.
Speeding.
And remember, you really want to get out of there, Israel. Mark.
Okay.
It's spooky now. We've been in here too long. And action.
It's her nightclub room.
Come on, let's go.
Don't trip out, it's fine.
Cut. Good. That was great. I like that one. Let's circle that and move on.
There's an idea of what you have as sort of the classic Hollywood director that sort of barks orders and has all of these, you know, there's these stigmas attached to what you think a director is. And it's not to say that she doesn't know exactly what it is that she wants, because she does, but her way of getting there is so different than anyone I've ever worked with.
For me, this is my 5th movie, and I feel like I'm always surprised with, like, oh, I know how to do that. Like, I feel like having that much experience really helps me now making decisions that I've really learned a lot from. That it's not easier, but you know how to trust your instincts and do things over until you get them how you want them.
She has like this like lighthearted character, but at the same time like this intensity. Like you could tell she's thinking about something. You could tell she's like observing and taking notes in her mind. A lot of the things I would say or do, she would say, oh, that's interesting, like we should use that, or oh wait, how would you say this, or like what would you, and she would ask me for say a line or something. She would be like, if someone said this to Chloe, what would Chloe say? And then I would respond, and she would just be like, oh, that's perfect.
All right, one more, please.
That was great. I think you'd be a little less of a bitch to those girls.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's still cool. Like,
okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
Sorry, guys.
I'll enact, I promise. Like, you're kind of friends with them. You don't know them that well, but you're kind of friends. But you're still a badass.
I feel like she wants to capture something that's very real and very authentic, and so she tends to just let us improvise things and say silly things to each other, and like she like pulls out and catches those special moments which can only really be created, you know, in the moment. And so that's been a really interesting way to work for me.
She's an observer, is what she is, so that's how she can get those certain shots and just puts her little touches in the movie. And it's just an amazing experience. I love going on set and just seeing her there. She's sitting in her chair and she's just watching us. And something she always does, right before she says action, she'll come and she'll give little helpful sayings. She'll just be like, oh, you're out all night, you're partying, you're really tired, you don't want to be here. Okay, and action.
How fucked up are we?
Yeah. You're pretty fucked up. Is that an answer? And Chloe, you're like, hell yeah, you're doing it. This is how you do it. And you're living the life that you think you should be living.
So yeah, Israel, wait for her to put down the
and Katie, you're the queen of the
come back
night.
up with the other one.
Most directors give direction, and she's kind of like, you know, she reminds you what just happened and what's about to happen, and, you know, tells you, you know, pretty basic about, you know, what the scene's gonna feel like. She doesn't say, you know, do this or do that to any specifics. So as an actor, you know, you're making your choices and she's letting you make your choices.
I've tried to tell the story in a way that you can get into it from the kids' point of view and see how it's fun and exciting, and then hopefully by the end of it you get another perspective that they've kind of taken it too far.
I think I understand why the Bling Ring was so obsessed with these people and with these things that they got, but I don't think that I condone, you know, their actions, and I don't think our movie condones them either. I think it's just another take on what happened because it was so crazy.
It wasn't about the money and the watches and all this kind of stuff. Like, they wanted to be these people. I mean, they would go there and just hang out sometimes. They just wanted to, like, see what was in the fridge and, like, you know, hang out as if it was their house, not to necessarily steal stuff. That was just part of it.
You know, what they did is pretty awesome. You know, I'm not saying go out and do it, but think about it. They robbed Paris Hilton. They robbed Lindsay Lohan. They robbed Orlando Bloom. Like, what kids would do this? What kids would have the balls to do that, you know?
I feel like you can get caught up in just the kind of the teen, fun, bad behavior side of it. So I hope I'm not glamorizing their bad behavior. So I feel like it's a mix, but that in the end, it'll hopefully give you something to think about.
Rebecca Ahn, thought to be the ringleader, was arrested and awaits her hearing with the other members. Stay tuned for the latest on the Bling Ring.
Did you speak to any of the victims?
I've spoken to all the victims.
Really? What did Lindsay say?